On Sunday night, the NYPD proved once again why they're the greatest police force in the world. Huge celebration of New Year's Eve here in Times Square. And it came off beautifully, came off without a hitch. People were protected. Once again, the eyes of the world were on New York, and the NYPD was up to the task. And we now are celebrating the safest year in New York City since the 1950s. We are so proud of that. We are celebrating a number of amount of crime reduction that is absolutely amazing. The lowest number of homicides since 1951. And more clearly than ever, we are the safest big city in America. We know, though, we have to keep working to make this city even safer. And we understand what's happening around the world, and we even saw some tragedies here. The horrible attack in November on the West Side, and the tragic incident here in Times Square in May. We know we have to do even more to keep people safe. And that's why we conducted a review on how best to secure our streets and public spaces, and we formulated a plan of action. Over the past few months, you've seen around the city in key locations temporary barriers. And that was necessary to immediately secure those areas in light of these new trends we've seen. But we knew we needed long-term solutions. We needed permanent barriers. And that they had to integrate into the life of the city. They had to still allow people to get around. Because these are some of the busiest streets in the world. People have to be able to get around, but they have to be safe at the same time. These new bollards will allow us to do that. We're announcing today a $50 million investment in protective measures, key locations around the city. And that will include the installation of over 1,500 permanent bollards like the ones you see here behind us. And these bollards will make sure that the vehicles can never come into the places where pedestrians are. I want to thank everyone in the City Council for focusing on this issue and passing key legislation that led to the study and led to this plan. And I also want to thank the Council for their support of the investments we need to protect ourselves against attacks. And I want to tell you, these are the most cowardly kind of attacks. When someone with a vehicle plows into a group of innocent pedestrians, it's disgusting. But we know there are some out there who mean to do us evil, and we will protect against it. It's also important to recognize that sometimes we've seen tragedies that were not based on an attack. We've seen cars that just spun out of control, or reckless drivers, or someone who, God forbid, had a heart attack while driving. We've seen cars go into pedestrian areas. We want to make sure in some of the most heavily traveled areas of the city that these bollards protect against those kind of tragedies as well. And this certainly is consistent with something that we're so proud of, which is the Vision Zero initiative, which also had a banner year in 2017 and saved more lives. And it's also consistent with making sure we protect people in every neighborhood. It's another way of thinking about what we can do street by street, block by block, to make people safer. We are the safest big city in America, and we need to make sure we have the safest streets and the safest sidewalks as well. And this major investment will help us to be even safer going forward. Just want to say a few words in Spanish. Siempre estamos trabajando para mejorar más la seguridad en las calles de la ciudad grande más segura de nuestra nación. Hoy estamos anunciando una inversión de $50 millones en barreras de protección para toda la ciudad. Así vamos a mantener los autos donde deben estar y proteger a los peatones de amenazas a su seguridad. With that, I want to thank for his leadership, and I want to congratulate him today, and I'm going to be congratulating him a lot this week for an absolutely historic achievement in making this the safest big city in America. Our Commissioner, Jimmy O'Neill.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out into the cold with us once again. And if you worked on Sunday night or yesterday, you're probably still thawing out. So, first of all, Happy New Year's to everyone. We had a safe event here on Sunday night. Thousands of cops once again spent time away from their families to make sure they do what they do best, and that's to keep New Yorkers safe. Everything we do in the New York City Police Department is geared toward keeping people safe, and that will always be our obligation. No matter how low, we're able to push down crime and violence. And the people who live in, work in, and visit New York City deserve to not only be safe, they deserve to feel safe too. We're a very busy city, as you know. More than 8.5 million people, plus the millions more who come in daily to work or to enjoy this great city. These additional safety bollards will allow us to better protect many of our landmark locations and many of the areas most frequently used for recreation. They'll also help us keep order as it relates to all of the competing vehicular, bicycle, and pedestrian traffic that defines our great city. We need to keep as many of our spaces as welcoming as possible, while also making sure they're safe as possible, too. Thank you to the Mayor, Commissioner Trottenberg, and the City's Security Infrastructure Working Group for devoting some real resources toward this important plan. We're continuing to work with our law enforcement and other partners at the state level, too, as we make our way forward together. Thank you very much. Thanks.
And a tremendous partner with the NYPD in this work has been the Department of Transportation, making sure that these bollards will keep us safe, but also allow people to get around, again, the busiest place in the world. I want to welcome our Transportation Commissioner, Polly Trottenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. Happy New Year's. It is great to stand here with you and Police Commissioner O'Neill and Counterterrorism Commissioner Miller. Maybe I'll wait till the siren goes by. And we're thrilled as DOT to be part of the City Security Infrastructure Working Group that is looking, with the resources you've given us, Mr. Mayor, to improve the safety and security of so many of the iconic pedestrian spaces in New York City. And from DOT's point of view, we obviously want to make sure that these spaces are inviting, that pedestrians can flow, that people feel safe, but can also enjoy the public spaces. So thank you so much for the resources, and we look forward to continuing the work with these new resources.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. We are working with our colleagues in elective office at all levels, because we understand this is a challenge facing this city, but it's also a challenge facing our nation. And I want to welcome a member of Congress who has taken the lead on this issue nationally in making sure that there be federal strategy and federal support for these type of safety measures. Congressmember Adriano Espaillat.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner, thank you for your leadership, making this the biggest, safest city in the country and perhaps the world. And this is a great initiative. New York City once again leads in public safety issues, and this is why I've introduced legislation, bipartisan legislation, with Congressman Donovan from Staten Island to try to secure a funding stream for a decade, for 10 years, for the installation of these bollards. This is not just a New York City issue. This is a U.S. issue, and we're hopeful that this will reduce any potential terrorist attacks, or even, I think that it will create also a deterrent, which is very important, a deterrent for this to occur, not to occur again. And so this is New York City at its very best, leading the rest of the country and the world in these initiatives. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Police Commissioner.
Thank you, Congressman. We are in the district of Councilmember Corey Johnson. I also will note, I think tomorrow is going to be a very important day for the council member and for the whole city. So I welcome him and I warmly congratulate him in advance. Councilmember Corey Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the selfless, hardworking members of the New York City Police Department who do incredible work every single day to keep our city safe. The cowardly act of terror that took place on Halloween, which originated in my district at Houston Street and the Hudson River Greenway, did not change who we are as New Yorkers, but it compelled us to take action and precaution. New Yorkers are strong, as we know. New Yorkers are resilient, and when they are faced with challenges, we move forward to ensure that tragedies that do not need to occur do not occur. Today I'm proud to join Mayor de Blasio, Commissioner O'Neill, Commissioner Trottenberg, my friend and colleague Adonis Rodriguez, and Congressman Espaillat as we unveil another tool to help bolster our city and keep it safe. I stand here fully supporting the installation of security bollards throughout all 5 boroughs. With the installation of these bollards, we are taking the next step in proving New York City is on track to stay the safest big city in America. The City Council immediately saw the need for this after the Halloween incident, and even before that when there was the incident a year and a half ago here in Times Square, and has passed legislation recently, sponsored by our Transportation Chair and my good friend and colleague Adonis Rodriguez, which requires the Department of Transportation and the Parks Department to report on the installation of these bollards. We are really happy with the partnership with Mayor de Blasio and his administration in moving forward with this installation, and I want to thank Adonis Rodriguez for his advocacy and efforts on this. Bollards will prevent acts of terror and mass destruction in crowded areas such as the area we're in, Times Square. It's fitting that we're here in the heart of Midtown when tourism is at record highs during this holiday season. Our great city is home to over 8.5 million New Yorkers, and it attracts almost 60 million people every single year, which makes our city a prime target. Because of this unfortunate truth, it is imperative that we take action to protect all New Yorkers. We are the most vibrant city in the world, and that is never going to change. I want to again thank the mayor for starting off this new year with incredible crime statistics, and with this good announcement today, I want to thank Commissioner Trottenberg, Congressman Espaillat, Councilman Rodriguez, and our incredible police commissioner, who the mayor gives him a lot of credit. More New Yorkers need to give him a lot of credit. Commissioner O'Neill is not just the guy doing the top-level stuff that you see in the news. When I have an incident in my district, he calls me and asks what is going on. We are very lucky to have him as Commissioner of the NYPD, and I'm grateful to be here today for this announcement. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Finally, I want to bring up a man who, as you heard, originated the legislation to get the study done so we could lock down a plan and start getting these bollards in place. I want to thank him for his leadership and for everything he's done as chair of the Transportation Committee in the Council. Councilmember Adonis Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm happy to be here with you, NYPD Commissioner, DOT, the Congressman, and most important, the person who after tomorrow will be our newest Speaker of the Council, Corey Johnson. So it is important to be in this important announcement. We need to save life, and we need to be sure that we continue making our city, under the leadership of Mayor de Blasio, the new Speaker Corey Johnson, and the commissioners, a city safe for pedestrians and drivers. More and over, we have seen how vehicles have been used as a weapon of mass destruction in London, in Asia, here in our own city. And we had to stop. And the only tools that we have right now is the pedestrian bollards. So from the beginning, it didn't make sense that I saw all the bollards in front of Bank of America at 6th Avenue and 42nd Street in one side, but not having the pedestrian bollards across the street or in front of the theater at 42nd between 8 and 7. I know that this is only a beginning, and we are committed to make our city safer for pedestrians and cyclists. Para mí es un día muy importante comenzar el día de hoy con el próximo vocero del Consejo Municipal, Corey Johnson, el alcalde de Blasio, anunciando 50 millones para hacer de las aceras de la ciudad lugares más seguros para los peatones y los ciclistas. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Everyone, this is an important day for the city, important progress. There will be more to come. but we wanted you to see, as this begins, what this means for the people of the city. With that, everybody, again, a very happy new year, and stay warm. Thank you.